man. So this is what's going on, man. I'm doing my thing out here, and I'm making a lot of progress. Uh, so I think my engine is it's from a Nissan Frontier, and it's the V V33 EG or VGE33, something like that. And it came in uh, like Xterras and Frontiers and Pathfinders. Anyway, so this is where I'm at now with it. I finally got the heads off. I've been out here working on it for probably like 5 hours, and you have to take so much stuff off. So I had to take off the power steering pump and just pretty much everything. The alternator had to come off. So this is down to the heads, and everything looks pretty good right here, except this one is really nasty. But that's because when I put a new timing belt on it and drove it home, this is what I was dealing with. This valve right here, you see how that's stuck open right here. That's stuck open, and that's because that valve was bent. And also this one, I think this is I don't know, there's intake and exhaust valves. So I guess this one's bent, and then this one's bent. So yeah, man, I've never done this before, but it doesn't appear to be all that difficult. It's just really difficult to get them off, and you got to get to all these random mass bolts that are so hard to get to. You can see my exhaust manifold is cracked. It's cast iron. It's cracked. You can see it's cracked right there. And then if you look up in there, you can see that it really is cracked all the way through. So, and then the other one's cracked as well. This one's cracked. You can see the crack right there. So I'm gonna have to buy some. I mean, I could probably put them back on because it didn't sound crazy or nothing when I was driving, but I'm gonna just go ahead and replace them since it's so difficult. This is the other one. So this one, I don't think there was anything wrong with this one. This one seems to be in good shape. None of the valves bent. So I think I only just bent valves on the one. But either way, I went ahead and bought 2 brand new ones. So yeah, I got 2 brand new ones, and so I'm gonna put 2 brand new ones on. There's my valve covers and a nice little hatchet just in case. So yeah, these big ass heavy metal things had to come off, and this one too. So yeah, man, all kinds of stuff. I messed up this gasket when I was taking it off, but it's alright because I bought some new ones. You'll be surprised, man. The new gaskets and stuff, just the gaskets and the new bolts, like you don't have to replace these bolts, but it's recommended that you replace these bolts. But I think my bolts are fine, but I bought some anyway, and it was like $150 or $60 just for the gaskets and the bolts. So it's a good thing I have a job. I spent about $1,000 on the stuff I need, and then man, I had my radiator with the little fans on it in the back of my truck, and somebody stole it. I know who stole it. So, but it wasn't none of these gang stalkers. It was actually a family member's boyfriend, and I got robbed for a whole bunch of stuff when I was gone one time. iPad and an iPhone and my radiator out of my truck, and about $200 in a change jar and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, that's old news. But so I got to buy a new radiator. I guess now all I got to buy is the radiator with the little fans on it, and I'm gonna go ahead and get those exhaust headers since those are cracked. And you can see, man, I'm all down to the innards of the engine. I think I replaced my water pump before, but I might try to look back on my receipts or something and make sure, because they're only like, I think they're only like $75, and it's very difficult to replace. I mean, it's not that difficult, but it's not as difficult as replacing the heads, these things. But you know, it's funny because these teeth, these teeth came off of this belt right here, right? So when I was feeling around in there, I'm like, okay, so it's not the timing belt. So I'm steady looking. I'm steady looking for whatever it is. But while I was trying to figure it out, you know, I'm trying to crank my truck. And when you try to crank the truck, when the engine spins over, and the timing belt isn't working, so that means there's on the top of the heads, there's a gear here, and then there's a gear here, and they go down to this gear on the crank. And if all three of those aren't lined up, because you want the cylinders have to fire like doom 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 doom, they have to fire in order. And if they don't fire in order, if everything gets out of time, then you got these valves going up and down at the wrong time. And in some engines, they call it no fault engines. In some engines, that doesn't matter. And it won't hurt anything. It'll just run like shit because everything's out of time, so it won't fire at the right time, and you'll get like black smoke, or it'll just run real rich or something like that. You might smell gas. But in this particular engine, it's called an interference engine. And so these pistons right here, because the spark plugs from the heads go down into here, right, and then they fire. Right, so that causes the combustion in here, and that they're like boom, 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 boom. So, and that causes your whole engine to spin, and that's what makes a vehicle run. So, you know, and like I said, I've never done this, but I understand the concept. So, when these pistons are going up and down, and the timing gets off, then that causes these valves to hit the piston, and when the valves hit the piston, then it bends the valves. And then you don't have the proper compression, okay? So it has to be sealed up and have the right compression to create the force to make the engine spin. So when I drove it home after I put the timing belt on it, because I bought a new timing belt, I think I put a new water pump, but it's been like 2 years ago, so I don't remember. I'm gonna have to make sure, but so. When I put it back together, it cranked up and ran, but as you can see, those one intake and one exhaust valve were stuck open, so I didn't have a lot of compression. So it drove fine up to speed, but like I remember when I backed out of the girl's house I was at, and she lives on a hill, and I backed out and I started to drive off, and it could barely get going up the hill. Once I got going, it was fine. Because basically I was running on like 4 cylinders and a 6-cylinder, at least that bad, because I think it's two of the cylinders weren't having the proper compression. So that's how it was running. But and I don't know if those being stuck affects the other side. So I could have just been running on 3 cylinders, just the other side that wasn't damaged. But either way, when I got up to speed, it would run fine. But it didn't want to go in the beginning because it didn't have the compression, so it's like so that's what's going on right now. But I got these new heads and the new gaskets and the new bolts and everything, so you know, I really need a ride to AutoZone or somewhere. I'm gonna have to call around and see if I can find somebody that's got these exhaust headers, and I gotta do a little bit of research to make sure that I don't have to put the exhaust headers on before I put the heads on, because I'd like to clean this up and go ahead and put these heads on and get that done, and maybe even get the timer. I don't know, man. But I've made a lot of progress, but I'm just going to work on this because I'm off today. So I'm going to work on this all day because I'm very determined to stop paying Uber and stop riding the bus and the trains all the time. I've been driving my whole life, and then you know, most of the last 2 years I've not been driving, and it had a lot to do with my situation with these people, gangs talking to me or whatever. But oh yeah, I gotta get 4 tires too. These tires ain't looking too good. So anyway, I love my truck though. Look, it's a manual. As you can see, it's a manual truck, and it's a long bed. So I used to like these Frontiers because of the roof rack, but mine, when I finally found what I wanted, didn't have the roof rack. So I was like, damn. but I really like my front ram. I paid a bunch of money for that, and then I put it on myself. So the front ram really makes it look cool. But and then if you run into somebody, which I did one time, I went to the lady act like she was gonna go off of the interstate, and then so I got ready to go behind her, and when I looked over to make sure nobody's coming, I started to go, and then I looked up, and she had stopped right in front of me. So I bumped into the back of her, but it didn't damage mine at all because of that front ram. But it was really difficult. It was really difficult to find the long bed because these trucks often come in the short bed. And so I could find a lot of the manuals, and I could find a lot of the I couldn't find a lot of long beds, period. So I wanted the long bed, so I paid cash for it. I went to the dealership where they were. It was a used truck, but it was what I wanted, and it was the 5-speed manual and the long bed. So that's what I wanted. So I don't know, I had been saving for it. So I had like, this was back when before the gang stalking, I really had my shit together. So I had like, I don't know, close to $9,000 or something like that, and they wanted 10,000, 10,900 or 10,500 or something like that. So I was just like, you know what? I'll give you 8 for it. And they was like, nah. So I'm like, okay. Just put the block of money on the table, and I was like, look, I got to go pick up my daughters from school. So if you want to take 8 for it, you can. If not, I'm leaving. And they was like, oh man, you don't have any. I was like, look, I had 100 separated in my pocket. I was like, I'll put $100 with it. And I gave them $8,100 cash money, and they sold me the truck. So that's what I wanted. I wanted this truck, and I wasn't looking. I liked the blue and the black ones, but over time I started to really like this color too. So anyway, after I get done with all this, it's going to be like a brand new truck. And Nissan's make really good trucks that last a long time. So I may get a car too, because I really kind of want like a luxury sedan. I'm thinking Benz, but I rode in a Hyundai Genesis the other day. That was my Uber or Lyft or whatever, and it was really, really nice. They ride so good, and I've rode in 100 different cars over the last recently because I've been taking so many Ubers and Lyfts, and that Hyundai Genesis was really, really nice. So I think that might be a good alternative to something like a BM or a Benz, which is kind of what I want, because they make the most solid, best cars, but the Genesis is going to cost a lot less. So maybe I'm going to look into that, because I want to have a truck and a sedan, or either, no, probably just a truck and a sedan. I used to have the truck and a Suburban, and then I had a Lincoln Town Car. I had 3 cars when all of this started, all of this gang stalking stuff, and then the Suburban got smashed up by vandals. I had a bunch of stuff in it, and they smashed all the windows out and stole all the stuff. And I don't know who did it, but I think that did have something to do with these gang stalkers and them knowing where I am and how to get at me. So I went ahead and just got rid of it, because they messed up the door and smashed out all the windows. So I was like, forget it, man. So I had rims and a bunch of stuff that I was going to put on it. I was really working on that, and it was a really nice truck. So, but anyway, they messed that up, so I don't have that anymore. And then I had a Lincoln Town Car, but the transmission messed up in that, and I just went ahead and got rid of it. It was an older, but they ride really nice. Lincolns are really nice too. And then I had a Toyota, Tacoma? A Toyota Tacoma, the small truck. It was a single cab, and that's the one I totaled. And they're all right, man. But I didn't really like it that much. But that's what I was driving after this one broke down, until I totaled that. When these gang stalkers were chasing me around, there were 6 cars of them chasing me, and they had the road blocked off, and I tried to swerve out and ended up dodging another car and crashing in a telephone pole, and they shot at me and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I'm getting it back together now, and I'm getting my stuff right. So I'm about to see if I can't, taking a little break, making a video, but I'm about to see if I can't clean this thing up and maybe put it back together, check on these exhaust headers at a couple places. Maybe they'll deliver. But anyway, that's what's going on. This is Kevin Christian.